Welcome to this conversation on the use of and leverage of architecture for sustainable competitive advantage in mining. And when we start talking architecture, I sometimes feel like the headless monkey talking to the other monkeys, because it's a topic that we all believe we understand, but it's actually a topic that is fraught with misunderstanding and confusion. So hopefully today we clarify some of that. Hopefully today we leave you with a sense of understanding of why architecture is important and what you should be doing about it. So let me start with an example. For me, why do we architect a house? So let's equate it to a scenario where you invite your friends over for a braai, ask each one of them to bring a brick. As they come in the property, let them throw the brick on the heap, right? And then when the cooler box is empty, you expect the house to be constructed, aesthetically pleasing and fully functional to your need. And we understand that doesn't happen, but yet that's the way we build solutions when we build IT systems. So let me use another example. There's a wonderful case study of the Winchester House, which is in San Jose, California, and is built by the widow of John Winchester, who designed the Winchester repeating rifle. And she was haunted, she believed, by the spirits of everyone who was killed by the rifle that John Winchester built. And these spirits convinced her that as soon as she would stop building, she would meet with her end. And as a result, she ended up building this house. She bought a house in 1880s or 1884, 8 bedrooms, 8 rooms in the house, and just started adding to it. She used the magnitude of people to help her. She hired 13 carpenters. She spent in that period $5.5 million. So understand the value. Huge amount of money was spent on the solution that she built for herself. But she didn't have one architect. So she built this house, and it was a spectacular house. It grew to 7 stories. Fortunately, 3 of them fell down after an earthquake, so they stripped it off. But the house itself is still standing and still available today if you want to go look at it. It's a very interesting case study. The house was not completed by the time she died, which again, I mean, you can reflect it back to your IT solutions. Many of your solutions somehow never finish. They keep on sort of drifting and floating, and tomorrow it will be done, but it never quite gets done. And that's the part of the problem as to why we should be architecting solutions. So let's look at some stats on the Winchester house. When she was finished, Winchester's widow built a house of 2,200 square meters, 10,000 windows, 2,000 doors, 52 skylights, 47 fireplaces, 40 bedrooms, 40 staircases, 13 bathrooms, 6 kitchens, 3 elevators, 2 basements. And yet she wasn't happy with that. And the interesting thing about the fact that she wasn't happy was because she never really quite understood what the end state was that she was working towards. She just carried on, because if she stopped, she would die. And the real problem that you find is that because there was no architect, everybody just added in ways that they wanted to add. So you had a hugely dysfunctional house. Doors would open into walls, doors opening to open space, staircases running to ceilings. It really just isn't a functional place. But yet, she invested a huge amount of money. So you can equate that back to the way you're spending money on IT in your business. We spend huge amounts of money on the promise of value, but we somehow walk away disappointed in the end. So unless you plan to confuse everybody in your business and confuse these spirits that haunt you, best you start with an architected perspective of what your business wants to look like when you're done. And let's start with that perspective as the context in which we build our total solution. And then let's build it in a phased way, so that you can extract value along the way, so that you can make value calls about whether you want to progress to the next phase or whether you want to stop. But let's at least always understand that whatever I'm doing fits into the grand plan that I had in mind in the end.